I'm Emmy Hall. Now, since 1989, the Mazda Miata has charmed the world with its open-top awesomeness. It's small, it's lightweight, it's easily tossable, and it's affordable. But is that enough to make this car a future classic? We'll take a look at my baby, the 2001 Miata, coming up next on the Fast Lane Car. Now, when the second generation came out, the biggest difference that you'd see is the loss of the pop-up headlights. Instead, you have these that are flush with the body. This car maintained the same chassis size and the same wheelbase. So really the only difference that you've got here are the headlights. Now, Mazda was able to give us just a little bit more room in the trunk, but it's still not enough for a good laundry basket rating. It gets 0. Wah, wah. But if you pack carefully and in layers, and if you Tetris everything using any and all available space, you can fit enough stuff in here for a 6-week cross-country road trip. And I know because I've done it. Now, one of the things that you will have to think about with the Miata is the possibility of theft. You can get a hardtop for these cars, but that means that if you want to enjoy the sun, you got to take it off, you got to store it someplace. The soft top really allows you to drop the top at any time whenever you want to. Now, there is a power retractable hardtop, but that didn't come into being until 2007. So for my 01, really a soft top is the only way to go. And the other day, somebody took a knife to it. Hi! I vandalized your car and I didn't even steal anything! Ha ha ha! Yeah, that's awesome. It's about $1,000 for a new top, $500 for the top, $500 for the installation. So plan where you park accordingly. Now, originally, this car made 142 horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque. I know, it's a speed demon! Now, power would go to the rear wheels through a 5-speed manual transmission, although you could get a 6-speed manual transmission and an automatic. I have no words. I have no words for why you would get this car in an automatic. Now, I've got about 128,000 miles on this car. Pretty much, I've done your regular standard maintenance. I had to put a timing belt in at about 100,000 miles. While that was out, you might as well put the water pump in. The throwout bearing went out, so I went ahead and put in a new clutch. And because I do a lot of cross-country driving that often involves me spending long stretches on the road, sometimes in the desert, she had a tendency to run a little warm with the stock radiator. So when that one took a dump on me a few months ago, I went ahead and invested in a race radiator from Flying Miata, which I'm very, very happy with. Now, the interior of the Miata is pretty bare bones, and that is a-okay with me. Even the new ones, you just don't get a lot of toys. Now, this is the LS model, so I've got the tan leather interior, Bose stereo system, cruise control, and air conditioning, but that's pretty much all this car really came with. I've added a few things like an aftermarket stereo, aftermarket GPS, aftermarket Bluetooth, which unfortunately this car is really loud, so it doesn't do so great. The only other things I would kind of like to have is a cooled cup holder, because I do love to drink a soda while I'm driving. And if I could have that Mercedes-Benz air scarf that pushes air around your neck when you have the top down, man, that would be so cool. But it's probably not going to happen, so I'll just deal with the regular heater, which puts out enough heat so that even if there's snow on the ground but a nice blue sky and you want to drop the top, you'll still remain pretty toasty. So we all know that this is not a car about flat out speed, right? I mean, come on, girl, let's go, let's go. If you want a drag strip diva, then go buy yourself an American muscle car. Don't buy this, because this is a car that's really meant for the canyon. I've got front and rear sway bars, limited slip differential, torque that doesn't really kick in until 5,500 RPM. So all of that combined means that this car is really, really easy to drive at the limit. Now, there is a little bit of body roll, but I'm pretty sure that most of that has to do with the fact that I haven't touched the suspension, and it's about 13 years old, so you do the math. Now, all the Miatas, even the newer ones, still have hydraulic power steering. Oh yeah, so that means that it's perfectly weighted, it gives you a lot of great feedback, and you're able to really put the car exactly where you want it to go. Additionally, this car doesn't have any nannies. There's no ABS, there's no traction control to mess up your fun. This is all about you. You tell the car exactly what you want it to do, and it'll do it. Now, of course, it's not all puppy dogs and rainbows here in the cabin. One thing, the noise. It's loud. I mean, yes, I have 2 gaping holes in the roof, but it's still really, really loud. A lot of wind noise and a lot of engine noise. The second thing is that, yes, it's a 5-speed, but when you're you're on the highway and you're in 5th gear and you're cruising at like, 70, 75, your RPMs are still way, way up there. That 5th gear is in no way any kind of an overdrive. So consequently, the mileage is not that great on this car. I mean, I average usually in the mid-20s, and for such a small, lightweight 4-cylinder car, there really is no excuse. It should be better. Now, some of you might have noticed that I do have a race number on this car, 1617. I don't race this car. A lot of people do race Miatas. They're the huge spec Miata class. They're a lot of fun on the racetrack, on a road track. They're easy to maintain. They're cheap to modify. All I do with this car is autocross it, and very, very badly at that. Now, this 1617 is the number of my off-road race car. In 2001, when this car was new, Mazda had already sold 500,000 Miatas. And in 2011, they reached 900,000. This car holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the most sold sports car ever. But is it a collectible classic? Well, I think that all Miatas are classic. It's an emotional response that you have to them. You get in them and you just feel good. They can bring you up just from sheer joy of driving. So yes, I think it will always be a classic, but will it be a collectible? Will you buy this car and expect to actually make money on it or expect it to appreciate in value? And in that, I have to say no, unless you're looking at the special editions. Mazda has a tradition of releasing special editions throughout the entire run of the Miata, and there's 3 that I think really stand out. The first one, the 10th anniversary special edition, and the 2004 Mazda Speed Turbo. The first special edition came out in 1991, and that came out in British Racing Green, and you could get a limited slip differential as standard equipment as opposed to optional equipment on the regular ones. Now, they only came out with 4,000 of those special editions, so I think those are definitely going to go up in value. In 1999, Mazda came out with the 10th anniversary edition. Now, they only made 3,150 of those. They were fully loaded, plus you got a tiny little miniature of your car, a cool little keychain, and his and hers matching Seiko watches. Now, it came in at about $27,000, so it was a little expensive, but again, it's really rare. Just over 3,000 of those made. So again, I expect that one to get up in value. And then in 2004, Mazda came out with the Mazda Speed version. Now, this one produced 178 horsepower through a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It had upgraded suspension, beefier Bilstein shocks, and it's really gotten a very big cult-like following. Everybody loves their Mazda Speed Miatas. So again, expect that one through the roof. Thanks so much for joining me here today on TFL Cars Classics Revealed. Hey, did you know TFL Car is on Facebook and on Twitter? In fact, I'm on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram. So why don't you check us out online? Thanks so much and have a groovy day.